From the president's mouth to our listening ears, there was an announcement yesterday that has generated talking points. A new ministry has now been announced in the agricultural sector. It is called the Livestock, Ministry of Livestock Development. So people are asking loads of questions. What does this mean? How is it different from the Ministry of Agriculture? And does it deserve a status of a ministry? There's a lot of questions. So we're talking to the people today who are in that space. We're being joined on the program via Zoom by Mr. Ayuba Umerano, is the National Organizing Secretary of Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria. Mr. Rano, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Good morning. Good morning, all. Thank you.
I want to get your first reaction to this particular news.
We're really excited and we're really happy. And this is a new development for the new initiative of the Bola Tinubu Ahmed government. This is a real development, actually.
Well, this development, by the way, is livestock development. So on both angles, you're correct. But this development has, well, caused a lot of uproar from Nigerians, a solicited uproar, I should say. Some saying, why are we creating a new ministry? That means we'll be spending more, most likely. Why are we really doing this at this time? Will we create ministries for every other issue we've faced? But you say this is a good development. So I'd like you to speak to those concerns that people have in terms of cost, in terms of the timing, and the rest. Do you consider those as an issue as well?
Yeah, we consider that as a new burden to the government in terms of the financial duty or in the financial activities. But we realize that if the government work directly in this sector, it will bring what the Nigerians are in need. Because it's daily consumption things that happen every day in Nigeria. What I mean is the consumable things that Nigerians are in need of it, instead of importing it. Nigeria are losing much out of the business in that respect. So once Nigeria is concentrating on it, it will help them by not importing anything from outside of the country. The related of the milk, the related of even meat, in other food processing activities is related of that line. So I look at it when the ministry is being managed properly, it will work at the Nigerian, the way Nigerians are in need of it. Actually, I don't look at it as a burden to the government or as a financial burden to the government. But I look at it as a development because there is so many things that has to be cared properly and it is utilized.
So the question a lot of people are asking, rather than create, because of the paucity of funds and the too many ministries we have and trying to cut cost of governance, like you've alluded to, did the livestock subsector require a full ministry as far as this is concerned? Shouldn't we have created maybe an agency and make it as robust as possible? Because now the ministry, a lot is involved. Departments will be created, agencies will be created, and all of that. Mr. Rano? Mr. Rano, all right. As soon as we establish that connection again. Mr. Rano, are you back? Oh. Okay. We're also being joined in the program by Mr. Femi Oke. He's the Southwest Chairman of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria. Joins us via Zoom. Mr. Oke, good to see you yet again on the program.
Yeah, good morning, viewers at home and the panel there.
Yeah, apologies. I'm sure we dragged you from bed this morning to come and talk about it because at the end of the day, it's an important conversation. Let's get your take, just like I got it from Mr. Rano, on this new development by the president, because I know the last time we had a conversation, you sounded like there's an urgency that is required in the agricultural sector. Does this meet up that expectation of urgency?
Yeah, it's not a... to we stakeholders in agri sector. Some time ago, we've had a meeting with all the sector in this agriculture about this livestock. The meeting was held in Abuja, and that was one of our conclusions, So hearing that from the our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to implement, to bring in the new Ministry of Livestock, is just to ease the bottleneck work on the Ministry of Agriculture. Some years back, we've been hearing much about the herders' problems, and we now decide that it should be decentralized. And if is being created, at least it will give more rooms for the robust in the food in the system. So it's a welcome development to we farmers, and it's not a new news to us at all. We've been expecting it much at that. So that is a joy to we farmers.
So it's quite interesting. It looks like the farmers, at least judging from both of you, you are receiving this well. But the average Nigerian out there, judging from some of the comments we've seen, they're not receiving it well. So maybe you can try to convince those ones who are not receiving it well, who think that this is going to be wasteful spending, bloating the government that they think is already over bloated, and all of that. So how do you convince those people? And I'm asking you yet again, Dr. Kesemo, I asked Mr. Rano.
Yes, like I said in my last interview with you, we need a lot of sensitization to the populace. Most of what we are doing, especially what government is doing, is not being known. And that is the area where the area of some agencies that have to blow up what is really on ground. They have to come on board. Like I said two days ago that I was there are some agencies that were concerned to really release or let the populace know what is really happening. Like to this one too, I think it was late December last year that we had the meeting in Abuja there. Professor Atairu Jega was even the host there, and a lot of the stakeholders in the agri sector. And it was part of the conclusion that at least how do we end this farmers herders program problem? And it was on the very many things was being highlighted. But is the news take it? How many people got it? It is now that the Mr. President decided to now bring it into the fold, that people are now talking about it. And that was what I was saying, that every stakeholders we always come together to have a communicate of what is really going to happen. And by the time we have been, journalists and press people have been able to carry it out, it will be a sort of unaware program that is just coming up.
Right.
So we farmers are happy that there is a thing of joy to us, and we believe this will help the farmers, others, all these banditry with this new.
Right. So maybe we should also get a sense of how this might be operationalized from you, since you said this has been in the making. So what is it thinking, really? Because people have asked, so there be a ministry for planting or for plants or plant farmers, as the case may be. So how is this going to work, particularly because the agricultural sector has quite a number of sub-sectors, will I say, in it. So what is the operationalization going to look like? Would there be, I don't know, would the government now be providing ranches for the farmers, or for the livestock farmers rather, or they will still be the ones to purchase it? How will this be operationalized?
Well, most of these, like I said, it was being highlighted in our last communique we concluded at the last meeting we had in Abuja. Definitely, most of the governors will take measures to end the clashes there by having a clusters areas where farmers will assemble and treat their cows or livestock, and some other things we come up that will ease the problems of these herders farmers conflicts. So that is the major thing of which, and I'm sure by the time the ministry starts to come on board, we see a lot of ease, a lot of from that sector, because we are looking at, like I said the other day, I said, okay, let us even look at the ratio of the amounts being allocated to the Ministry of Agri. Is it up to 2%? Is it up to? It has never exceeded 3.5% ever since for years. So definitely, if some has been is being allocated and other things, so it will go a lot of to ease the problems of we farmers. So let us start from there. I'm sure it will go well, and Nigerians will even love it the way it is.
All right, let's take it to Mr. Rano. If we can, Mr. Rano, can you hear us now?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you now better. Okay, so the same question we asked Mr. Okay. How will this, because this is at the core of it, how will this solve the problem of farmer header crisis?
I look at it that this ministry will be created, and it has a synergy with other ministries to work together. So I look at it that when it was concentrated on that particular issue, it will give a full attention. So what I want Nigerians to know is that Mr. President give a full attention to that sector now, and which is the major challenges in the Nigerian factor of food security issues. And if it is a ministry, it will give a full attention. So what I'm trying to convince is that now Nigerians are now likely to get a concentrated ministry in that particular sector. So I look at it this way, actually.
Okay, the operationalization of it is, I think, has been one major point of contention. So tell us, what are the expectations that you have, maybe that's another way to put it, that you have from this ministry in terms of coordination, provision of, like, call it infrastructure for the livestock farmers? What are your expectations for this to work well?
I want to, my expectation is that now this ministry to concentrate on these two issues. First of all, in the rearing and the fattening sector, and the clashes on the issue of the farmers and headers. On the other side, in the business sector, I look at it in the business sector because I'm in the business sector line. I'm the merchant from the northern part to the southern part of the country of the livestock, actually, which is in the daily activities of it. And we are assisting people to consume this food or to consume these items or our product in an easy way. So if the ministry is concentrated by clearing this or by making this to be easier, as my brother colleague said, that easier doing business, I'm sure it will help the populace, it will help the Nigerian. So this is what I'm trying to explain on the issue of question.
All right. Okay. So do you expect the provision of ranches, for example, from this ministry? By the way, the states will also have a role to play. Now, whether or not some states are willing to play is another debate entirely, because even for the bill for ranching in the National Assembly, you had a lot of debate, and they had to say, you know, let's have a national parlay on this, because some are saying, well, what if states don't want to participate in it? Should you force it upon them? So tell us, do you expect provision of ranches? Do you expect strict compliance? What about herders that still say, I don't want to be a part of this, I still want to go carry my herd from state to state? Do you expect that to be a thorny issue in the implementation of this?
Yeah, the implementation of under the national body, as a national body, it will be better than to manage it under the state issues. Because there are a lot of problems in the country now. Each state has its own issue on the farming and the cattle issues. So I look at it this way, that to handle it under the ministry, not in the state ministry or in the state issue, it will be better. And I'm expecting it to be a good result from that side.
Mr. Okay, so that particular highlight of ranching is one of the main issues. And the question being asked most of the time is, livestock is a business, it's a private enterprise. So why should government be getting as involved as it is getting involved in, which is one of the controversial elements of all of this at the end of the day, because there will be budgetary allocation, perhaps interventions and all of that, because other subsectors may be agitating as well, which is why we're asking, will it really solve the problem?
What Nigerians need to understand is that now, the livestock is just like a petroleum. The livestock is just like a petroleum, which is managed by the government. What I mean is the government has a lot of concentration under that. So the livestock is a consumable item by every day. What I mean, all Nigerians are in need of this product. So if there is a need for making these things to be easier and cheaper to Nigerians, Nigerians need to have a very cheap items now. What I mean, foodstuffs and other things, very cheap. What I mean by the logistics, by the transportation and other things that comes off to make this to be very costly. So this is our expectation in the business sector. And Nigeria has to show a sign of interest of what Nigerians are in need. Nigerians are in need for consuming these livestock issues. And at the same time, it's very costly by the production, by the feeding, by the managing, even the transportation issue. As I told you that we have a lot of issue in the multiple taxation issue. And this multiple taxation issue is affecting the business. Because if you take your goods from Mubi to Port Harcourt, you spend not less than 1 million naira along the road by the hoodlums along the road. And if there is a ministry, it will take care of this. And the government are agitating every day on the food security issue. And we have been in this issue for multiple taxation for a long period of time. And not only livestock, even the foodstuffs, again, it's effective because there are a lot of, apart from the transportation cost, it will give you a cost of what we mean by multiple taxation. So that is good for Nigerians to have things very cheap. If you are buying from far away to down there, you get it very cheap. And this thing is happening every day. And the loss of life, a lot of loss of life. So, and the government is showing interest actually on this, if it is making these things to be happening. Thank you.
All right, let's take it to Mr. Okay. Mr. Okay, let's bring it to you as well. The same question for you.
To buttress what my colleague was saying is a welcome development of which I said. During the Western region, if you could remember vividly, in Ibadan, there was a place they call Fashola. It's not a ranching area per se, but the late Chief Awolowo decided to have that place to ease the problem of these moving around all these cows and things. And the place was there. Coming in of our military era that time, they could not do much in this area. And the area was life value, almost moribund, until this government of Oyo State just came on board to have something doing. But with this ministry now, this area will bring the Southwest even together. They have to work there. There are sectors there. Very many things are moribund and they do. So it's not a matter of every state to partake, to have their own. No, Ruga is not the issue. Bringing the cow is not. But they have done a place like a segregation where the some regions can start breeding, can start having their own. And when we talk of livestock, and every household take it, it's just like the staple food of rice. There's no house we get to and discover there's no person eating the rice there. At worst, they are little kids. So it's the same thing in the livestock that we are talking about. So that was why I decided to take you to that or your state of what is really happening there. And I'm sure by now, with this assistance of this new ministry, the place will now come on board instead of it to be line fallow. Look at the price of feed, look at the price of chicken, look at the price of egg, which has not been in existence. So definitely it will come down. It will be like a research institute. It's almost like a research institute. And people will be trained there. Then we will now have our own breed instead of depending on the other neighboring country bringing their own cow. So those are part of the essence of this, of what I think this ministry will now come to bring on board.
All right, Mr. Femi, thank you so much. Mr. Femi, okay, is the Southwest Chairman of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, as well as Mr. Ayuba Umarano, the National Organizing Secretary of the Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, my brother. Yeah.
All right, we'll continue to follow that story. It's barely less than 24 hours since the announcement was made by the president. The details are still sketchy, so when we get more details, we'll be able to have maybe more robust conversation. But these are the initial reaction to the issue of Livestock Development Ministry. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the railway development. Join us again.